Okay, I think we can probably get started. Hi, everyone. My name's Kara. I work on the Visible Body team. So we're thrilled that you could join us today for our webinar on labs. Before we get started, if you have any questions throughout the call, please feel free to type them into the Q&A or the chat field. And Lori and I have built in some breaks so we can get to your questions. So if we don't answer them right away, please know that we will answer them. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm thrilled to have Lori Levans with us today. Lori is the editorial director and the product owner for Courseware. So we call her the Queen of Courseware. So she has an exciting stuff to show you today, and she's awesome, and I know you guys are going to enjoy this. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Lori.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kara. Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. At least we made it to Friday, which is great. So what we wanted to do today was a bit of show and tell and also some Q&A. I know that a lot of you will have questions along the way, and that's great. We're happy to take them. I'll kind of pause every so often, and we'll take your questions. You know, we want to make sure that you're able to see really quickly how we have two different styles of courses to show you. So I want to show you two different models we have, just show you how they look and feel and how they work. And then I'll show you some types of quizzing and, you know, the grade book and just some different things to help you feel comfortable, and that's that you could, you know, feel good about, you know, how you can get your lab going, up and going quickly, how you can sort of, you know, bring down the stress level of your students too, because we want to show you how these courses are made. We'll let them know, you know, where they are, what they need to do, and make them feel directed and that they're supported. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to stop my video just because I think it's going to be better for you, so that, you know, we won't have too much lag. So is everybody able to see my screen okay? Kara, you're able to see it?
If anyone cannot see this, I can share. Yes, I can see your screen. If anyone cannot see your screen, could you please say something in the chat or the Q&A so we know? Okay, someone's saying yes, so I'm hopefully that means everybody can see.
Perfect. Okay. If you can see it, probably everybody else can. That's great. So I'm just going to jump right in again so we make the most use of the hour. So this first course we're calling the A&P Lab Assessments. And this is really the way to go for more of a ready-to-go, plug-and-play course style course for a typical A&P lab. The other course I'm going to show you in a few minutes is a lab manual correlation course. So this one is really based on you know, a formula of here are the main topics. So we always have a getting started little module to get everybody familiar with how to use Visible Body apps and courseware. So we put that in most of our courses. But you can see here as I scroll down, you know, here are the main topics. And I think that if some of you are teaching A&P1 right now, maybe you're in the muscular system. If you're teaching A&P2, you're maybe in respiratory. So I'm going to use those two topics just to show you how we break things down. So you're going to see, if we look at muscular system, you're going to see a folder here of the overview, and then you're going to see how we regionally break down the muscle groups. And that's how we're sort of presenting the content in this lab. So if I open the muscular system overview, you're going to see we've got 6 exercises in Visible Body. So the muscular system overview, you know, this assignment looks like this. And all of the assignments here have, you know, these guided bits. We're going to tell the student, you know, here's what we're learning today in this sentence. You know, here's what you're going to do. Watch the video below. And then here are the learning objectives. At the end of this assignment, you're going to be able to describe these things. So they're all the assignments in this course are built this way so that it's really easy and directed. And you can see it's broken down into little chunks. So it's really small bites of the content. So here's muscle types, for example. Okay, so this is what you're going to learn today. Here's what you need to do. And here are the learning objectives. And then they can see all the content here. So in this overview chapter, what we try to do, and for all the body system overviews, we try to break it down into the key areas to get started, and then we have quizzes. And so we've lumped some different quizzes based on all the topics that we introduce in that chapter. And these are multiple choice. Sometimes they're dissection quizzes if we have them. But for this one, these are mostly multiple choice questions because these are more conceptual. And we have, as you can see here now, we've broken down the specific muscle learning by region. So this is our head and neck muscle chapter. So you can see we have facial expression, mastication, tongue, laryngeal, neck muscles. And then we sum up with a multiple choice quiz and dissection quiz. So again, you can see this is what we're learning. This is what you do. Here's what we're going to learn today. Here's our learning objectives. Now, this particular course, you know, in that plug and play mentality, what I mean by that is that we have put for you some of those key muscles that we think are the ones on your list. It's so easy to be able to edit this list if you would like. So you just select edit here. You can change the name of anything and the due dates, and we can get into that if you like. But this is where you can add or delete names of muscles if those aren't the ones that you want to teach. So again, if you mostly agree with this list, great, it's ready to go. If you want to change it, you absolutely can. And I think for those of you who have gotten the initial demo or the getting started stuff, you know, you can pretty much edit anything in courseware. I want to make a note that the way this particular course is set up, everything is auto-graded. So there's nothing manual in here for the students to do. So there's no worksheets, there's no you know, PDFs to print out. There's nothing like that. And all the quizzes are auto-graded. So the way that we built this course, and you can certainly, as I think you know, add your own content. And we can go over that too if you like. But this is sort of, again, that you should be able to, by the end of, you know, taking a glance through the content here, you can go ahead and assign it. So you can see, you know, how we did it here. You can see for thoracic and abdominal muscles, again, we've split things out. Upper limb muscles, same thing, so that you can have it kind of in the bits and bytes that you might want to teach it this way. And that's how we broke it down. I'll skip down to respiratory system for a minute just to show you.
Hey, Lori, really quickly, sorry, can you go back and just play one of the videos? Someone's asking for an example. Can you
absolutely.
And launch into one, and then someone else is asking prime movers. I'm not, maybe you know what that means.
Yes, absolutely, sure. So I can show you for facial expression muscles. So we have 3D views for these. So this is launching the A&P app. So this takes them right into the asset where we have the lesson here. And then here are some of those key muscles that are pre-selected here. So the student's just gonna go ahead, and click on here. They can see, they can hear pronunciation.
Levator palpebrae superioris.
They can read a definition, and this has the origin, insertion, innervation, action, blood supply, and text. And then they can just manipulate the model here. You can click around too, so our 3D models are live. I'm using a trackpad right now, but you can zoom in and out with the mouse, and super easy. But you can, you know, this is up for exploration, but also because of these little hot buttons here, it's very directed also. So they know all the keys here. And they're looking here in courseware to see your list also.
We have a couple of other questions, Lori. Do you want to take them now or?
Sure, yeah. Do you want me to show you? I can show you prime movers if you like too. Why don't I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I can show you that. So what we have for the muscles, what I'm actually going to do is show you the Muscle Premium app because I want to show you, and you can, I'm here on the My Apps page, so you can see that you can access, I'm just going to let that open for a minute. There's probably going to be a lag as we launch this app, but I want to show you that the muscle actions, there's a lot of muscle detail in the Muscle Premium where you can explore the pins and paint and the origin and insertion points and the innervation and all that. And we also have that whole list of muscle actions, and there's a place where in the text you can see the prime movers. So that's what I want to show you real fast, and then I'm happy to take some more questions. So here in the muscle actions, I'll go to shoulder extension. So if any of you are familiar with these are 3D muscle actions where you can zoom in and out. And everything like that. And then if you open up this book icon, this is where you're going to see the prime movers. So we have it in text. We show the prime movers. Sometimes we've added other related muscles, but this is what the muscle actions look like. And then this is our scrubber bar here, so you can speed them up or slow them down. So that's what the prime mover information is in text right now. Okay, I can take any other questions, Kara, before I move on.
Okay, so one question came in. If you edit the muscle list, does it automatically edit the 3D imaging files in multiple choice questions?
No, nope, not at all. So what you can do, I can show you real fast. So let's say here, we're in the facial muscles, and you're like, you know what? I don't care about the platysma today. Doesn't matter to me. And I'm just making that up. I'm sure it might matter. But so we'll say, we'll get rid of it in this list. We'll just end the sentence here. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I'm going to save the draft. And then you'll see here that it updated the text, but I can still certainly come into this unit and it just takes me right to, same thing where I want to go. And here are the muscles, and here's the kind of the lesson. So that's that. So it's really easy to customize the words. If you wanted to customize the content, it's really easy to do. So what I might do is go to the respiratory section and let me kind of show you. So for example, I'm in the respiratory system, and my main topics are pulmonary ventilation and external and internal respiration, right? So I have a whole activity on that, and here are some nice animations and a couple of 3D views, and it walks through it. And again, here are my learning objectives. And then we have another activity, an exercise on respiratory system anatomy, and then we have an exercise on muscles of inhalation and exhalation. And you might say, I like those, but you know what? We also teach pathologies. So how can I add pathologies to this activity? So what you want to do is go right up to the top of the screen, and you want to create a new assignment. And you're going to say that I know I've seen in Visible Body's physiology animation apps, there are some respiratory pathology videos in there, and I want to add those. So you select physiology animations. And now this is going to load up in the exact order that you would see it in the app. You can see I clicked on pathology, and now here are all my respiratory and circulatory pathologies lumped in. So you can come in and you can scroll down and you can pick the ones that you want. And you're like, great, I want to talk about that and that and that and that. And maybe asthma. We'll leave H1N1 out. So you have your assets selected, and that's all great. And you can also preview them if you want, which is something good to note. So then you're going to come back up here. So this would actually launch the animation in a new window if you wanted to just double check that you like that animation. That's what this preview will do. So I'm going to hit continue. And then you're going to name the assignment. And I'm going to call this respiratory pathologies. And I'm going to give it a due date. And this is an option where I can make it available for the students right away, or I can delay the release. So that's what this would be. If I said yes, I could say, well, it's due on the 30th, but I don't want them to see it until the 13th. And then let's go put it in that respiratory assignment folder. So see how this is in order of all the folders, the modules in my course, it's all in order. So you just go down to respiratory system, and that's where you're going to file it away. And then this is where you would put your text. So I'm going to go ahead and save the draft. And then here are all the animations that I picked. And again, if you wanted to come back later, you could put in your description. You don't have to do it right away. We'll save everything you do. And then when I select back, I'm going to go back to my respiratory folder, and here are my pathologies. And you can drag and drop. So I want to put those last. Great. And if you wanted to change the name of this folder, I call it respiratory system. You might want to call it something else. There's a rename folder. You can call it anything you want. So there's so many options to make this yours. One thing I also wanted to mention before I take another pause is that you can add your content. So again, I mentioned that this course is all auto-graded, all set up. There's no external files in there, but you can add them very easily. So if you have that favorite PowerPoint, you have your favorite videos or OER resources, whatever you want, this is where you go. Let me go back and do that more slowly. You create you create a new assignment again, okay? And then you skip the visible body content, and this is where you can upload a file. If you click this, you're prompted to grab a file. You just click on here and you go find your content. So that's really easy. And then link to URL works the same way. You just copy and paste your URL here. So you can add all of your own, favorites to each of these preset modules. And then, those are kind of the basics. Kara, I don't know if there are any more questions.
So we have a couple of questions that have come in. Some relate back to what you were showing before. So one of them is, can you delete on the 3D app? Like, can you delete structures or images on the 3D app?
What you can do is delete the content you don't want from an assignment, or you can delete a whole folder. So say you're here and you're like, you know what, we are not going to be teaching reproductive system this semester. I want to delete all the folders. You can either keep them and just not publish them, or you can come here to this option and delete the folder. And I will tell you, if you have other courses going, you can copy. If you're like, I want to start another course and I want to move the reproductive system stuff to another course, you can do that also. You can copy a folder, and then you're prompted to pick the course you want to copy it to, and then you can delete it from here. When you're in an assignment and you want to delete out some of the content here, and this one of course just had one thing, let me go here. If you wanted to come here and you saw, well, these are the things we thought were important for this lesson, and you're like, you know what, I think I'm going to save the path of the zygote for, I don't want to even go there. For example, you're going to hit edit, okay? And your first level of edit is all the assignment details here. And then you're going to come here to edit assignment content, and we're going to show you what you picked, and you have the option to uncheck. So here, sexual reproduction and development, this is in our A&P app where we got the content for the assignment. So this shows you on the right-hand side all the pieces that were in that assignment. I'm going to deselect path of zygote, and I'm going to select continue, and then you can see that asset is now gone.
So Lori, she's clarifying. She said, what I'm asking is when we deleted the, and I'm going to say this wrong, the platysma from the assignment, yeah. The 3D app still had a hot button for, to the platysma, which could confuse the students.
Yes, exactly. I was just using as an example, but yes, if it wasn't important on your list, you could not have it in text in your assignment description, but there's no way for you to delete anything from our apps. So it would still be here. But that was just an example of taking out the platysma. Yeah, but you can edit text here, but it doesn't affect what the student can see once they get into our content. I hope that answers the question.
I think so. Okay. Yeah, thank you, she says. Okay. What kind of your own content can we add? Videos, lectures, documents?
Yes. So what you can do is you can add, so for the files, for example, like you could add, we have a little eye here too, and it tells you. So you can upload PowerPoints, PDFs, Word and text files, Excel files, and then we just have a maximum file storage limit of 100 megabytes for each file. So you can upload all of these types of files. And then for the URLs, it's totally up to you. You can put in whatever you like.
You mentioned dissection. Can you please elaborate?
Yes, a dissection quiz. So what I'll do is show you, I'm going to switch over and show you, actually, let me tell you about one quick thing, because I have a quiz ready to launch and I want to show you what a dissection quiz looks like. I wanted to show you that there is a button here for student preview so that you can see what the student sees in your course. So what I want to do really quickly, and then I'm going to get to the, what I'm going to do quickly before I get to the quiz is I'm going to show you, I'm going to go to my other course and I just want to show you, and then I'm going to show you the quiz. So this other course that I'm going to show you today is a lab manual correlation course. And what we've done is correlate our content to all the chapters in the MARAB. This is an example just to show today. This is the MARAB lab manual. So you can see all the folders here relate to all the main headings in the MARAB lab manual. So I'm going to go down to respiratory and I'm going to show you that I've published to my students this module. And I can tell because I have this little green check mark. There's a respiratory system physiology. You can tell this has not been published because of this little gray. So what I've done, and I can show you after I show you the quiz, I can show you how to publish, but I wanted to show you that for the student, this is the only thing in this course that's been published. So when I click on student preview here at the top, this is you're in your regular instructor account, but this is just to let you know you can really quickly see what the student sees. So if I unclick, I get to see all the stuff. If I click, this is saying, hey, you only have published anatomy of the respiratory system module. Now I'm going to switch windows here for a moment and I'm going to show you my student account. Okay, so that's my professor account. Here's my student account. You can see that I'm a student here and this is what's in my course. So it's the same thing. So what I wanted to show you is that, you know, we have different components of this course. Let me show you the quizzes first, and then I'll show you the other. So these are all my respiratory quiz assignments. So here I am in my student course. See that my instructor's given me 2 attempts, and I can see this is when they're due. So I'm going to do the lower respiratory system dissection quiz for this demo. So as a student, what I'm going to do is click on here and it's going to load the quiz and I'm going to take the quiz. So this is what the student experience is for a dissection quiz. And I'm going to take this quiz just to show you how it works and how you can manipulate the model. And if I get a couple wrong, I might do it on purpose, maybe not, but also it'll help you see what the detailed quiz results look like when the student gets them right or wrong. So what I mean by dissection is to get this answer, you need to manipulate the model. So select any of the vessels that return oxygenated blood from the lungs. Okay, so what I'm going to do is hide, and then I'm going to select my structure. And I can double click on my mouse or trackpad to get a closer view. I can use, you know, the space bar to go up and down and side to side. I can manipulate the model. So I'm just going to go ahead and answer these real fast. And as I do it, you're going to see how with the student experience of taking that dissection quiz. All right, so let's see. So we'll give it a shot here, right? All right, and I'm gonna now select the lungs to get them out of the way. And I'm gonna zoom in here so I can make sure I'm selecting everything. Good. Okay, so here's my tertiary bronchi. Let's see, make sure I'm getting them. And zoom right in and submit. Okay, any part of the trachea. So you can see some are hard and some are easy in terms of trying to navigate the model. Now the Highland one is really easy because you can, or actually it's not very easy. And this is an interesting exercise. Again, you can delete this question out of your quiz if you want. But what we do, what I found is the easiest way is you select the lung, and I'm using these visibility buttons here. I can actually show the whole lung, okay? And now it's solid. I can see it better, and I can select hide others, and I can get rid of everything else. And there, I can find the Highland. Okay, and the middle lobe of the right lung. Again, some are more simple and some are more complicated. Again, to get structures out of the way, you're just selecting them and hiding them. Okay, and then to see the fissures, you might want to select the lung and select show, and then you can see the fissures a little better, so it's not in like that faded state. Okay, and then I can, you know, rotate the model and select some cartilaginous rings. Again, I can get rid of the lung to Get some blood vessels going. All right, how did I do? See, I've been practicing. I got 10 out of 10. But if they don't, you're gonna see a red X. You're gonna see a red X here that says, you know, what they answered was incorrect, and then they know that's where they have to go to get the right answers. So that's the student experience of a quiz. I can show you in the grade book, this is what they see at the end of every quiz. For a multiple choice question, if they get it wrong, we'll also show them the correct answer. And you can make those choices in the quiz bank when you want them to see the correct answers. There's also a way for the students to see the answers as they're taking the quiz if you want. So there's some options there, and I'm happy to go through quizzing at the end. But before I go in and show you the lab manual correlation course and how it's different from the other one, do we have any questions?
Yeah, we have quite a few questions. So I'm just going to go ahead and read through some of them then.
Great. Yep.
Can you time the quizzes?
Yes, you can. So let me show you. I'm back in my instructor account and I'm turning off student preview. Okay, so what I want to do is we'll go back to that respiratory quiz so we can just make some changes. So here's all the respiratory quizzes that I've assigned. So when I select edit, I have a bunch of options here. So we already kind of went through how you name the assignment and how you set the due date and what the release date means and how you put it in the folder. Here are some of the other things you can do. You can assign a point value to the quizzes, and the settings you choose here will apply to all the quizzes in that assignment. So you saw, I think there were 5 quizzes. So this is, we set some defaults here and you can change it for anything you want. So we defaulted this that each quiz is worth 5 points. And then in the grade book, it's going to be displayed as points. You could also display it as percentage if you want. This is where you choose how many attempts. You can also make it unlimited, which is fine. This quiz score to keep means if you give them 2 attempts, do you want the best one to be the final grade in the grade book? Do you want to use the first attempt or the last, or do you want us to average it for you? And I'll show you the grade book in a minute. We've defaulted them all to best. This is where you would choose the time limit. And a couple of things I want to mention that you can say yes to a time limit. You can set the time here of how many minutes. And then I wanted to let you know that if you have students who have accommodations, you just are going to go over to the roster. So you can set this up, and I'll show you the roster in a minute. You can make accommodations for students in the roster. So say you want these to be 10 minutes per quiz. All you do is put in 10 minutes. This is the quiz feedback section I was talking about. So this is where you get to make some choices of when they. So if you want the student to see quiz feedback after each question, you can do that. Or and we'll always show it at the end of the quiz no matter what. So we default it to, they're just gonna see that feedback at the end of the quiz. But you can also choose that you want the feedback to be shown after each question, as well as at the end. So that's where you can pick that. And then the feedback after the quiz. So this is something for multiple choice questions. You can show the correct answers after every quiz attempt. You only can show them on the last quiz attempt. So if you give them 3 attempts, you might not want them to see the answers until the very 3rd attempt. Or you can say, hey, I don't want to show them correct answers at all. So those are some choices here. And again, those apply to all of the quizzes in the assignment. So if you want to have different settings for different quizzes, you can just make multiple assignments. And here I am over in the roster. I just have myself as a student right now, but this is where you would pick. You can pick 1.5, 2 times, untimed, or anything else. And the roster is also where you can drop a student or transfer them. Say if you're managing 2 sections of a course and somebody switches from your other, from one section to the other, this is where you transfer them. And this is your list of courses you pick to transfer the student. So that's what you can do in the roster. Any other questions related to those sorts of things?
Well, I have a whole list. I'm just going to go ahead and read them in order, if that works for you.
Yeah.
Does the lab component require a different join my course invitation?
Yes, so this invite people link is specific to each course. So if you wanted to use this Marab lab link, oh my gosh, sorry, lab manual correlation. If this was your course, then you invite your students using this link. So if you are managing 3 courses, you have to send the invite link to students for each course.
Do you have any practical sorry, I can't talk either today, Lori.
It's Friday, it's good. All good.
Do you have any practical exams set up?
Practical exams. What we have, so I can tell you the 3 types of quizzes that we do have, but you can make your own quizzes also. So I showed you what a dissection quiz looks like. We also have multiple choice quizzes. So you can search by visible body quizzes, and then multiple choice, and then by whatever topic that you want. And you always are going to get a preview. So I'm just going to stick with respiratory system. You're always going to get a preview here in the right of what the questions are. And to preview the quiz, you can just come here and you can see, a very basic, what you would expect of how what the multiple choice quizzes look like. There is an option that for the multiple choice quizzes, you can add images to them if you want. But this is what the multiple choice quizzes look like. And let me show you the short answer, because that might be what you want, so that you can actually make short answer quizzes too. So I can show you really quickly. That might help in terms of if we don't have any pre-made practicals, but you can make them in here if you want. And I'm just creating a new question so I can show you what that looks like. A short answer question. You can put in a scenario here. You can include an image. And then we ask you to just tag your questions so you can find them later using those filters that I just showed you. But you could certainly put them in here for sure. So you could use the multiple choice functionality to do that. You could use the short answer motif to do that. And if you wanted, you could use the 3D models to do that too. But there is, you can make your own questions right in here. So I hope that answered the question.
I'm going to try to group the questions to where you are. Can you show us how to edit, delete, add questions in the quizzes?
Yes. So let's go to a quiz. So what you might want to do, let's look at a dissection quiz. Let's look at that respiratory one, or a respiratory one. And you can see how I'm using the filters to winnow down what we have. So let's go to the lower respiratory system dissection quiz. And you might say, you know what, I want to get rid of that hilum question because they're never going to be able, that's a really hard one to find. So I want to take that out. So what you want to do is you want to clone the quiz. And what that means is you're going to make a copy that you can edit. And that way, Courseware keeps this quiz exactly how it is, and you're making a copy. So you're asked to rename it. So here's my own copy now of the quiz. And now I'm going to choose to edit it. So when I choose edit, I see the name of it. I see how it's already been tagged. So we can keep those tags. We can change keywords, whatever you want. And then here are my questions. And here's that hilum question. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just getting rid of that. And you sure you want to remove it? Yes. While I'm here, I want to show you that we default to randomizing the question order. You can uncheck this and put these just by dragging and dropping. You can put these in whatever order you want. Similarly, you can check pool questions. So say you have these 9 questions and you want to give little mini quizzes. We'll randomize it and we'll say, hey, I want everybody to have 4. And that's how you do it. And if you want to add more questions, what you do is check add more questions, and it brings you here to be able to filter down. So you're going to say, now I want to show you real fast. You see a bunch of names here. We have a Visible Body school, and these are all of our employees that are using courseware. You will see under author, you're going to see Visible Body. You're going to see the Atlas quizzes because we put all the Atlas practice quizzes in the quiz bank also in case you wanted to do that for a grade. And then all your instructors' names are going to show up here. So I'm going to look at my Visible Body quizzes. I'm going to look at respiratory. And I'm going to say, here are all the respiratory dissection questions that are here. And you can further winnow down to the lower ones. So we're telling you this is the only one that you haven't, the only one that Visible Body has that isn't in your quiz for lower. So maybe you might want to, you know, add another something in here potentially. You know, maybe this is just an example, but say, well, let's put the epiglottis quiz in this question. And so you just select it, and then you select save and next, and then you could see that the epiglottis made it in here. Now, one thing to do before you get to editing a quiz that might be helpful, I'm actually gonna go ahead and save that. Okay, then you're gonna be prompted to, you can assign this quiz, you can create another quiz, or you can just be done. So we can go ahead and assign this quiz, and now these are all my courses. And I was in the Marab course. So here it is at the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and assign it. And I'm gonna pick it, because that's what I just did. I made it a pool. That's why there's a P here. And again, you can see on the right, the summary of what I just did. And you can see my epiglottis question is in there. And then you hit continue. And then here you go in and create all this framework for the quiz. So that's how you do that. One nice idea that you can do if you know that you want to write a lot of more questions or edit some of our questions, you can go in the question bank, and that's really an easy place to look at all of our questions and go ahead and you do the same thing. You clone to make your, you clone them to make your own copies. And then what you can do when you're editing a quiz, you can pick your name from this list, and then you can see, you can actually get rid of the visible body questions. You can just pick your name, and then you're gonna see all your custom questions, and then you can add them to the quiz. So sometimes it might make sense for you to look at Visible Body, at our question bank, and you can look at all our respiratory dissection questions, you know, for lower. And you might say, you know, I wanna add a bunch here, and you go ahead and add them, and then you can edit that quiz, and you can filter under here by your name, and then all your questions are gonna pop up to the top, and then you just check them off to add them to the quiz. And we're happy to help you do that, and we actually have support articles too that show you how to do it.
Can we use images from your content for assessments within our own testing software?
If you have, yeah, if you have a site license, or if you have, or you're using courseware in your course and you want to take screenshots of our content and put them into quiz questions, you can. But we do have like a permissions article that we can also send out after that lets you know, but it's definitely allowed if your school has a site license, or if you are requiring courseware for your students, you can use our images. You can take screenshots and use them, yeah.
Can grades be linked with Blackboard?
Yeah, so right now we have a way to do that. What you can do, let me go into a course that has students that have grades reported. So this course has grades reported. So in the grade book, I'm coming on the left here, I can see all my students here, and you can see all the different assignments are here. Incomplete means they didn't do it. And then I can talk to you about what all this means in a moment. But export CSV is up here, and we have pre-made CSV files for each of the main LMSs, or there's just a blank one if you're not using one of these 5. And you can export and then upload it into Blackboard.
How are the short answer questions graded?
Right, that's a great question. So the short answer ones are kicked over to you for grading. So let me show you what that looks like. I can, let's see, walk through the process of that. So what we can do in my courses is, let's go ahead and assign, I'm in that Marab course. Let's assign a short answer quiz. I'll show you what it looks like to the student and then show you what it looks like to you. So I'm going to create a new assignment. I'm going to go to the graded quiz bank. I'm going to select continue. And I'm going to look at all the short answer quizzes that are available. And I'm going to see that there is a wonderful digestion short answer quiz. It's fine. Let's pretend that this is the one you like. It's got 3 questions. So I'm going to select continue. I'm going to call this a digestion short answer quiz. I'm going to make it due Friday. I'm not going to delay the release. I'm going to put it in the digestion assignment folder. I'm going to say it's 10 points. I'm going to display the grade as a percentage, and I'm going to only be allowed to give it 1 attempt. And this is just a little message that we're saying, because you're manually grading this, we sort of assume you don't want to have the student do it more than once. So we're going to limit you to just being able to do this once. Okay, and then there's just 1 attempt. I'm not going to time it. I'll show you how the feedback mechanism works. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this to my student. And what you can also do is send an email to that student if you want, in addition. But I'll show you what it looks like when the student goes in and sees that this assignment is published. So we're going to go ahead and publish it. And now you can see, when you're in your course, you can see that there's the short answer quiz, and you can see here that it's published. So I'm going to go back over to my student course now. Okay, and I'm going to say, I'm going to see this little notification like, hey, look, this is available to me. It's also going to show up on a calendar. So there's a calendar view for the students to see when things are due, and they can look by week or by month. And that will take you to the information too this way. So you can also go in this way. So here I am as a student. I'm going to launch this quiz. And I'm just going to put in fake answers for the sake of time. And then I'm going to show you what the process looks like for the instructor. Okay, so I am just going to pretend. And I am just going to pretend, hard to pretend. Okay, and we'll just talk about this. All right, and so we'll say to the student, great, your quiz has been submitted to be graded by your professor. Click see details to review your responses. So they just want to remember what they did. There you go. So let's go back over now to the instructor course. So you're going to see in your grade book, hey, guess what? Lori's student took that digestion short answer quiz, and they're ready for grading. You can see I submitted it today, and this is my local time, and I took 17 seconds. So great. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to see this is Lori's quiz, and you're going to see that I responded here. You can give me feedback if you want in here. And then you can decide out of the 1 point, how much credit I get. And you can say 0 to that one. You can look at my response here. You can give me feedback if you like. You can say, well, that was about a 0.5. And you can see this is tabulating on the bottom. And then you can look at this one and be like, oh, that's exactly right. Great job. Great job. And that you get a whole point for that. So what you can do is save a draft. If you, for some reason, have a short answer quiz that's like 10 questions, you get interrupted, you need to come back to it, we'll save your progress. You can just save the draft. And if you're ready to submit this grade to the student, you can submit the grade. And we're like, are you sure? Great. All right. So that means, and now you can see that that student got a 50% on their quiz. And you can see the results. And my student self, I can come back here, and I can come here, and I can come to my grade book, and I can see that I just took that short answer quiz, and here's my professor's feedback. So that's the whole chain of events for the short answer. All right, Kara, ready for the next one?
All right. I'm kind of skipping around to keep it within the quizzing here.
Sure.
Can you do a combination of dissection and multiple choice questions in the same quiz?
So that's a great question because we get it a lot. And the answer is for right now, no. But we do have a plan to allow that in the future. So for right now, we have 1 question type per quiz. It's on our list.
Regarding lab practicals, can we choose a picture and number the items on it and have students fill in the blank that we grade manually?
So you definitely could do it. Like if you made a series of pages, so say you took screenshots of our images and you made, say, a Word doc and you put leader lines in there, you could, create a PDF of that and upload it. And then the student could print it out or electronically, put labels on, and then, they could, I guess they could email it to you, but if you wanted to go through the grade book, we don't have a fill in the blank capability right now. So the graded quiz bank, like it would sort of have to be outside the grade book for you to manually grade for right now. But we have heard some feedback that, labeling activities would be good and fill in the blanks would be good. And we just don't have those question types yet, but we definitely have that documented. That's something of interest. So I'll try to think of some more workarounds for that, but that's the first one that comes to my head. You could make your own kind of worksheet and make a Word doc so they could type into it, or a PDF, and you could attach it by making a new assignment and uploading a file.
Does adding other resources alter the auto grade capability of this program?
You're breaking up a little, Kara, but I think maybe the question was if you upload your own content. Oh yeah, does it affect the grade book at all?
Does adding other resources alter the auto grade capability of the program?
So the auto grading just applies to the graded quizzes and to anything that's happening here in the quiz bank. So if you have other PowerPoints or PDFs or anything that you want them to do, that happens outside the auto-graded environment. So it's just these quizzes that are auto-graded.
Okay, we have a few more, Lori?
Yeah, sure.
Can you mix and match module content when building an assignment using the radio buttons?
That is a really good question. So what I think you're asking is, can I use content from A&P and Atlas in the same assignment? And the answer is right now, no, that you have to be app specific per assignment. So you have to make one assignment with the content from the A&P app and another assignment with content from the Atlas app. They need to be separate right now.
Are any of the 3D images downloadable?
No, nope, they're not. They stay in our apps, but you can take screenshots of them and you can share them. If you and your students have, say, the mobile version of Human Anatomy Atlas, we can send you, if you give Kara, your name and information, we can send you a support article about how you can share views from mobile device to mobile device. So you can share them. And that's a piece of functionality that we're working on for the future, but to be able to share favorites within the courseware system. But right now, from mobile device to mobile device, you can share content back and forth with each other from Atlas or Muscle Premium.
I think this might have been a follow-up question from another one. It just says art labeled questions.
Yeah, do we have like a labeling question type? Not right now, no.
Okay. What kind of logs are reported for student activity? It can be important for catching cheaters. I get that one a lot.
Yep, right. So here's what you can tell. Here's what you can tell out of the grade book. What you can see here is when your students miss an assignment, of course, but here's what you can do for the quizzes. You can see how long they took and the date and time they submitted it, and you can see their score, and you just click on here to see their detailed quiz results. But you can also see, if they made other quiz attempts, you can see the quiz attempts. So you could see, the first time they took it, they got 60% and they did it in 28 seconds. The last time they took it, they got 100%. So say this was 3 minutes and 43 seconds, then maybe you could draw some conclusions that maybe they were looking things up as they were taking the quiz. So that's what we have in place right now.
I was looking for a chapter or some content that covers an introduction to anatomy. For example, directional terms, planes of the body, anatomical position, etc. Does this exist somewhere? Yes. We can send it to you, Tamara. We can send you that folder just in case it's not in one of the folders that you have. But Lori can show you what it kind of looks like.
We have some really great ebooks. Yep, we've got a prefixes and suffixes ebook. We have some nice little activity for anatomical terminology. This is in the MERIB course, but all this stuff can go into any course you want. And we have some ebooks on planes and positions. So we definitely do have some content for that.
Okay, I think we're caught up on questions, Lori. Yeah.
Great. Okay, let me just take a couple quick minutes to show you the difference in this lab manual correlation course and why this might be a good fit for you instead of the one that was kind of broken down in smaller bits and pieces with learning objectives. The model of this one is different. Let's go to, I guess because we were on respiratory, let's go to respiratory and I can just show you how this is different. So for MERIB, there is an anatomy chapter and a physiology chapter. So the formula here you can see is, and this is not all auto-graded, this is a lot of cool and different way to spin the course, right? So there's modules, anatomy ID, practice quizzes, graded quizzes, and then some lab activities that we have that are PDFs that they can download and print out and write on. So the modules framework, this model is like the A&P assets that you saw. So this one is, look at these below, and here's some just guidance on how you manipulate the model, and here are all the assets that you can look at. So modules takes you to the A&P app. And then the other piece of this one is the anatomy ID. And this one has to do with, that list of muscles. So we don't list the muscles that you might think are the keywords here because maybe you want to update this description and you might want to put your own list in here. So it's kind of just, we call it skeletal. We don't mean to have it be a pun, but this is kind of a framework to be like, so you want them to have some learning modules, you want them to open Atlas, and you want them to look at the inhalation muscles. Atlas is like this. Atlas is not as guided, it's more exploratory. So in that description of the assignment, you could put in all the muscles you want them to find, and then they could do an exercise of reading the definition, they could listen to the pronunciation.
Serratus anterior.
And Atlas has this pins and paint that this will show you the attachments, the pins, the origins, the insertions. There's some really great content in here that we can do another demo another time to show about all the detailed muscle and bone stuff we have. But the other piece of this assignment is that again, we set up the content and then you can put the words in that you want, and you can also, of course, edit the content any way you want. We have practice quizzes, and these are available. You can do this in any course, but we set up this course to have practice quizzes. So there are a lot of quizzes in our A&P app. These grades don't report to the grade book. They're just, stay here in the app so that you can come in here and you can take a quiz in the A&P app, and they could do this as many times as they want just to practice. So we have a practice quiz component in this course. And then we have some different attachments, some files that we put in here. So we have a lab activity for the respiratory system, and I can show you real quick what that looks like. So this is, we've made lab activities for every body system just about that are authored by anatomists in the field, and we have some pre-lab exercises, and they're all matched up to content either in Atlas or A&P, and we have just a whole host of these. And we have one little mini course that just has these in it. So we have so much content that you can use and add to your course, any type of course you want. But I just wanted to show you the different types of content available. So these are things that can be printed out and used as a companion with our 3D models. And there's some nice questions in here too. So there's lots of different ways to be able to use our content, add and edit your own. It's really pretty flexible. So we're hoping that this kind of shows you, some different types of courses that we have. Again, this one is really just set up that you can, give them A&P lessons, give them some things to discover in the Atlas app. You can give them practice and graded quizzes, just another way to approach. We do have, just so you know, on our Visible Body site, we have a page that has all these different courses on here. You can come to it from the Visible Body site, or also from within courseware. There's this button that says pre-made courses. So it's going to take you, this is kind of where you can shop for all the different courses that you have. You could see here in Anatomy Lab, I showed you the lab assessments today. We have a lot of different courses correlated to different books. So this is where you can go to get any of these courses. You can just add them to your account. You can look at them. You can see what you think. And you can certainly ask us if you have any questions as you're going through.
We actually had a question related to that, Lori, and I think the answer to this one is yes. Do you know if there is a course built around the Grant's dissector? I'm pretty sure I've seen that one that Laura built.
We have Grant's Atlas of Anatomy. The Grant's dissector, I'll tell you, we haven't built one yet, but I think that it's easy enough to do, and I'll tell you why. Not easy, but we have these gross anatomy lab views in Atlas, and we're going to be adding them to courseware to be quizzable in the future, but I just want to make sure everybody's seen these. So we have these views that are built this way, and you can flip them also, so that you can kind of simulate a cadaver lab and simulate a dissection. This is something that would be really cool if anybody, wanted to have a session on how this works. You can add back all the muscles here, and then you could have them dissect one at a time. So this is Gross Anatomy Lab in the Atlas app. There are all these different views, and you could make activities really pretty easily by when you're in a course. I'll just go back to where I was really fast. All you're going to do is create a new assignment. You're going to choose Human Anatomy Atlas. And then you're going to come down here to Gross Anatomy Lab, and here are all those views I just showed you. So you can pick this, and you can write your description and make it, you can make an activity. And later this year, we're going to be adding these views into our quiz engine so that you can quiz on them too.
Lori, do you know if there's one pre-built for Haynes Atlas of Neuroscience? I'm pretty sure Laura could build that if not.
I don't see it here, but we can definitely build it. Definitely send
we can check too, Cindy. I'll check on that if I can find it, because we have a whole list of other ones. And if you guys are having trouble finding these, or you just, you can email us directly, like either myself or your rep, and we can send you. We have a ton of pre-med courses. Sometimes it's easier for us just to go ahead and send them too, because we have the whole spreadsheet.
Yep. And we can make this sort of like framework, skeleton, if you will. We can make that framework, and then we can help go through with you how to finesse it and make it yours. But that's kind of what this Marib one is. It's not super specific in terms of the descriptions and things, and that's for you to fill in as you like. So we can put something together for you for sure. You can, let Kara, your rep, know.
Okay. I think we've caught up on all the questions so far, but before we go, I just want to make sure, does anybody else have any other questions for the Queen of Courseware?
That is very funny. Thank you, Kara. It's a little embarrassing. But yeah, you can definitely send your questions after this session too. We're happy to help. Absolutely.
Absolutely. My email address was in the initial email invite, I think. So if you don't know who your rep is, you're definitely welcome to come to me, and I can pass it to them if I can't answer it. Getting a question, please let us know when there will be more workshops. That's an excellent question, because I believe, Lori, did you say you were going to host an office hours for people to get on and
Yes.
questions?
Yeah, I think next week I'm going to be hosting 2 office hours, and we'll send emails out. But also, it would be really great if you have specific questions or things you want demoed, send the list to Kara, because then we can be ready. Yeah. And then if there's enough demand for 1 or 2 certain things, we can have special workshops for them. Absolutely. So let us know what your hot topics are that you want to see demoed.
Thank you all so much for the good questions. And for your patience and for joining us today. Again, if anybody has any follow-up questions after this, you're more than welcome to send them to us, and we're happy to, we will be happy to answer them.
Great. All right, everybody. Well, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.